Good morning. Welcome to In a Pickle Knitting Vlogtober day number 3. So it's October 3rd, 2018. Welcome back to any of you who've been watching, and if you haven't watched the other two, thanks for stopping in and listening to this one. I'm going to talk today about 2 seasonal children's literature books and then share a little simple, not a craft, but just something anybody can do to enhance the festivity of the season. So the first book I'd like to show you, I did show both of these books last year at the end of one of my podcasts. So I apologize if you happen to have seen that at the end. I don't know exactly which one it was, and it was shared at the end of a podcast, so I didn't think everyone would necessarily have seen it. And these are 2 of my favorites, so I wanted to be sure and include them. And the first one is this Pumpkin Circle, the story of a garden, and this is written by photography by Shmel Thaler and the story by George Levinson. And this book is nonfiction, and it does use photographs to tell the story of the life cycle of a pumpkin. And as you can see, just close-up, excellent photography. There's showing the seeds attached to that slimy stuff. This story is told in verse, and you'll notice that the person's hands are in orange gloves, and that's throughout the book. So they do very nice illustrations. They talk about the 5 different varieties of pumpkins, and you can see here they show how the roots grow down and the plant grows up. So very good life cycle story because the photographs really enhance the story. Something else that enhances the story is there is a DVD that has been made, and in the DVD they are actually in the garden, and the author of this book is the gardener, and they show him throughout, and he's wearing his orange gloves, and it is narrated by Danny Glover. There's also a Spanish version narrated by someone else, and there's some original songs. This enhances the book because it has so much more. It goes through and shows pumpkin festivals and all sorts of pumpkin artware, and it's just a very nice follow-up. However, it is fairly expensive. I used it in my classroom every year, so to me it was worth the cost, but it is the story of one of nature's life cycles, the pumpkin. And the second book is a fiction book, but it tells the same story, though in a fictional context, and it is called Pumpkin Jack. And it tells the story of a little boy who gets a pumpkin, carves it into a jack-o'-lantern, uses it during the season. When the season is over, he takes it back and puts it in a compost heap, more or less, in the backyard. And he would go back and see it now and then, but eventually, as you can see in this drawing, it's starting to decompose. And the next spring, through that decomposition, there were some seeds left in the pumpkin, and he gets new plants and grows a lot of pumpkins, brings one in, carves it, and when he sees it lit up for the first time here, hello Jack, as he named his pumpkin Jack. So it was Pumpkin Jack. I love this story. It is written and illustrated by Will Hubble, and is a really nice companion to have a fiction and non-fictional version of the same pumpkin life cycle. So those are my 2 books for today. And the little seasonal thing I was talking about at the beginning is to have a simmering pot on your stove. And in that pot, you can add a variety of things. I'm going to mention what I added, and of course you can alter that. I used orange peel. You could also add lemon peel, perhaps even lime peel if you like that scent. I did not have a lemon, so this time I just did orange peel. And of course that doesn't waste the fruit itself. You can still juice it or cut it up and eat the orange, but using the peel for this to add a really strong fragrance to the pot of simmering water. Also adding some cinnamon sticks. If you didn't have cinnamon sticks, I haven't done it, but I'm quite sure you could just add a teaspoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon, to your pot. I would have put whole cloves into mine, but once again, I was out of cloves, so I didn't, but I did use allspice in it, and I really like using allspice. And you want to use the whole. Well, I used the whole. You could probably put the powdered in too. Whole allspice, I was always curious about, well, what is allspice? So I looked it up, and it is actually a little berry from a shrub, or it even can grow as a low tree. Typically, they are grown in Jamaica. They are now also grown out in Hawaii, so they obviously need a tropical climate. And they will pick these berries when they're green and then let them dry in the sun. And then you can grind them up and use them in spices. They are used in a lot of Jamaican recipes. They're also used a lot in commercial sausage preparation. Americans tend to use it mostly in sweet things, but in other places it's used often in savory foods. The name allspice came from the English, who discovered it growing on some of their explorations. This was around 1621, as a lot of those explorers were looking for spices, and this they felt had the taste or scent of cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves together, so called it allspice. And so I just put those things. I put whole cloves, if I have them, allspice, whole allspice, cinnamon sticks, orange peel, and water. And I bring my water to a simmer and add all the ingredients, and then just turn it on the stove down to a low, and it makes the house smell really nice. So you should have seen some pictures there, maybe even a little video of it simmering away in my kitchen. So that is today's Vlogtober, and I hope to see you back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.